All right, let me cut across to this big news coming in. A big setback for Jharkhand Chief Minister, or former rather, Hemant Soren. He reaches the top court to try and get some relief from the arrest, but it appears the Supreme Court has now refuses to hear the matter and has asked him or redirected him to approach the High Court. We have our correspondents, Kanu Sharda, joining us for a little more on that. Kanu, go on, give us Supreme Court's response to a plea that he has filed asking to quash the case against him itself, challenging ED arrest. That's Hemant Soren being redirected now to the High Court instead.
Yes, Nabila, it's a big setback for the former Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has told his lawyers to approach the High Court, which is the competent court. In an important observation from the Supreme Court, it was said that, High Courts are also the constitutional courts of the country and they have equal jurisdiction over the matters hearing it. If we jump our jurisdiction like this, the message down there will be...
All right, stay with us. Biggest story of the day, Hemant Soren, who's now been taken into custody. Supreme Court, in fact, refuses to take up his plea, saying that Hemant Soren must approach the High Court instead. Kanu Sharda was with us. We're going to try and patch her for the moment. Kanu, if you're with me, go on. What has the Supreme Court said? And this was expected. He's shot off a plea straight to the Supreme Court before actually going through the protocol there. High Court is what he's redirected to now to approach. Give us more on what his plea included.
Yes, Nabila, the issue is that, he has directly approached the Supreme Court. That's the biggest hurdle for him, for Hemant Soren at the Supreme Court today. Supreme Court categorically told that High Court is equally a competent constitutional court and they should not jump the jurisdiction like this. And that is the only reason why the Supreme Court refused to entertain his plea and said that, he should exercise his right of approaching the High Court and then come out. But in another setback, Supreme Court has refused to, direct the High Court to decide his case in a time-bound manner, which was asked by senior advocates Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi before the Supreme Court. They wanted a time-frame hearing by the High Court, but the Supreme Court said that they cannot dictate the terms like this to a constitutional court, which is a High Court in this case. So clearly a very huge setback for Hemant Soren, because Hemant Soren not only had challenged the ED summons and sought the quashing of the quashing of those ED summons, but also wanted to declare his arrest, which arrest illegal. So he has said that the grounds of arrest are not being told to him. But today, in a brief hearing today, the ED counsel told the Supreme Court that, he has signed the arrest memo and all the claims which are being cited here in his petition before the Supreme Court are wrong and is not correct. So clearly, the submissions made by Hemant Soren before the Supreme Court is not matching up with what he is, saying, what the agencies are saying in the court. So clearly a huge setback for Hemant Soren, and he will have to now go back to the High Court, file a new petition, because remember, the petition which was already pending in the High Court was withdrawn yesterday.
Kanu, stay with us. In fact, Nishikant Dubey, who's really been firing salvos at the Jharkhand Chief Minister, let's listen in.
उसकी जो एक परिणति है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जो कहते हैं, न खाएंगे न खाने देंगे, और वो जो इसके खिलाफ रहते हैं, उसका अंतिम समय अब आ गया है।
लेकिन सर, इंडिया ब्लॉक के कई ऐसे नेता हैं जो कि सोरेन के साथ खड़े नजर आ रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि इलेक्शन से पहले ये ईडी का दुरुपयोग है।
मधु कोड़ा को जेल किसने भेजा? सिप्तेरा जी के यहाँ किसने रेड मारा? कनीमो जी और राजा को किसने जेल भेजा? उस वक्त जो है ईडी और सीबीआई का दुरुपयोग नहीं हो रहा था। ये अपने दिल से जानिए, पराये दिल का हाल कह रहे हैं। ये सभी जो है उसी मानसिकता के रहे हैं। इन्होंने बहुत दबाव की राजनीति की है। एजेंसीज को जो है इन्होंने अपने उपयोग के लिए किया है। ये माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, मोदी जी की सरकार है। ये बड़ी ट्रांसपेरेंट तरीके से काम करती है और जो भी चोर होगा, पैसा हमने रख दिया क्या हेमंत सोरेन के यहाँ? 36 लाख रुपया हमने रख दिया क्या? 82 संपत्ति जो है बेनामी हमने रख दी क्या? ये हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट में जो है, लोकपाल वाले जजमेंट में कहा है कि 82 संपत्ति है तो आप जांच करिएगा ना, इनकम टैक्स में उसको दीजिएगा ना, उसको आप चुनाव आयोग में बताइएगा ना कि हम जब चुनाव लड़ने जा रहे हैं तो इतनी मेरी संपत्ति है। तो इसलिए अब उनका पाप का घड़ा जो है फट गया है और इंडी अलायंस के पास अब कोई मौका नहीं है दूसरा।
एक आखिरी सवाल है सर आपसे, वो लगातार प्राइवेट चॉपर में कहीं दूसरे स्टेट में जाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, क्या आपको लगता है कि झारखंड की सरकार स्थिर है, उनके पास एमएलए हैं, वो प्रूफ कर सकते हैं अपनी सरकार?
अभी तो शपथ होगा, शपथ के बाद राज्यपाल महोदय ने समय दिया है, 10 दिन का इंतजार करना चाहिए अपने को।
सर 1 मिनट रुक जाओ।
All right. There you have Nishikant Dubey. Hemant Soren has been taken into custody, and as much as he would like the Supreme Court to give him relief there, the court has redirected him to the High Court to first take the matter up in the High Court, and then only instead he went directly to the Supreme Court. This was expected, though he did seek relief from arrest, but Supreme Court has asked him to approach the High Court instead. We know that while Hemant Soren is currently in ED custody, there's a hectic activity that's happening within Jharkhand. Jharkhand politics taking new twists and turns. A new chief minister now, all set to take oath. Champai Soren, likely to take oath today. And it appears that all the MLAs are together. They were attempting to take off to Hyderabad just last night, but due to weather conditions, their flight was cancelled. They had to stay back. So yet again, they're all set to make their way to Hyderabad, is what we are told. We're very closely tracking those developments. But for now, big news coming in. No relief for Hemant Soren from the Supreme Court, at least for now. Supreme Court says take up the matter in the High Court. This is Hemant Soren, Jharkhand Chief Minister, who resigned right before he was taken into custody by the Enforcement Directorate. 10-day custody. But he tries to challenge this in court, but Supreme Court refuses to give him that relief. Now he's been directed to the High Court. All right, we know that mega political drama. Champai Soren, who likely is the new Chief Minister of Jharkhand, he is to take oath today finally. After Hemant Soren resigned as Chief Minister on Thursday, the Governor C.P. Radhakrishnan asked Champai Soren to take oath as Chief Minister and prove his majority in at least 10 days' time. JMM Congress Alliance also fears activation of Operation Lotus in the state. On Thursday, they booked 2 chartered flights to Hyderabad, but due to low visibility, flights couldn't take off, and then the MLAs were left stranded in Ranchi.
डट के मुकाबला किया था, डट के मुकाबला करेंगे। अब जो पार्टी का आदेश निर्देश होगा वही पालन होगा।
कल का फिर तैयारी होगा?
पार्टी का जो आदेश निर्देश होगा उसी का पालन होगा।
अभी सर्किट हाउस जा रहे हैं आप लोग?
हाँ, संभवतः।
फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई है, एक बार नीचे कर लीजिए। एक सेकंड।
देखिए, फ्लाइट कैंसिल नहीं हुई, विजिबिलिटी इशू था, रीशेड्यूल किया गया है।
फ्लाइट कब? अब आज रात रांची रुकेंगे आप लोग?
देखिए, अगर इस तरह की परिस्थिति बनी रही तो हम लोग कोई निर्णय इस तरह का ले भी सकते हैं।
कितने मेंबर गए थे आप लोग अभी फ्लाइट में?
मोर देन 40।